The first thing I saw were her eyes, black, empty, and staring right at me from the water. I never believed the stories about Princess Lena until the night I saw her with my own eyes. I grew up in a small fishing village on the coast of Saint Pierre. Everyone knew the legend. Lena was the last daughter of the old king, but she was wicked. The elders said she used to steal babies from their cribs and throw them into the sea as offerings. They said she danced with shadows and never got old, but that was just talk, right? Old people always have stories. One night, I was out on my uncle's boat, pulling in the nets. The moon was full and the water was still. My uncle had gone back to shore for more rope, so I was alone. That's when I heard it, a voice, soft like silk, calling my name. Daniel, I froze. The hairs on my arms stood up. The voice came from the water. My first thought was that someone had fallen in, maybe a lost fisherman. I leaned over the side, looking into the black waves. At first I saw nothing. Then she rose from the water, slow and silent, the surface rippling around her like it was breathing. Droplets clung to her pale skin, running down her face in thin streams, while her soaked dress billowed unnaturally, as if caught in an unseen current. The air grew thick with the smell of salt and something else, something sour, something old. A woman, wearing a white dress that floated around her like mist. Her hair was long and dripping, her skin too pale for someone from the islands. But it was her eyes that made my blood turn cold. Her eyes, black, no whites, just dark pits, stared up at me, and her smile, too wide, too sharp. I tried to step back, but my legs locked up. She lifted one hand, and I saw her fingers were too long, too thin. "You don't believe, do you?" she whispered. "You think I'm just a story." I wanted to scream, but my throat was dry. She moved closer, floating on the water like she weighed nothing. I felt the boat shift. I felt the air turn cold. Then in the moonlight, I saw the edge of her dress. It wasn't white. It was stained red at the bottom, like she had been walking through blood. For a moment, everything froze. The air, the water, even my breath. Her black eyes locked onto mine, and I felt an invisible pull, like she was drawing me in. Then just as my knees started to buckle, my uncle's voice called from the shore, breaking the silence. The woman's head snapped in the direction of his voice, and for a second, she looked angry. Then she smiled again. She sank just like that, vanishing beneath the water without a sound. I stood there shaking as my uncle's boat came closer. I wanted to tell him what I saw, but I knew he wouldn't believe me. No one would. But I know what I saw. I know the stories are true. Princess Lena is still out there, still waiting, still looking for someone to pull into the deep. And sometimes, late at night, when the water is calm, I hear my name in the wind, carried with the rustling of palm trees and the distant crash of waves against the rocks. Has anyone else seen her, or am I losing my mind?